So Cruella is continuing to do worse than other Disney movies and other movies. So we did that. We talked about the comparison yesterday where we talked about Quiet Place and Cruella comparisons, and Cruella is still doing completely horrible. Okay, Cruella draws in 686 U.S. households over the 4-day Memorial Day weekend, and people are like, "Oh my God, Disney Plus is gonna save Cruella." Really? It's gonna save the movie? Okay, the movie's actually doing worse on Disney Plus than it is doing it in theaters. Okay, and Mulan pulled in 1.12 million U.S. households. They don't have any data on Raya and the Last Dragon here, but the movie's not doing well. Of course, the media's gonna say, oh, it's doing so well. People like Cruella. No one likes this movie except for, the bots who are giving this movie 10 out of 10s on Rotten Tomatoes. Those are the only ones who really like this movie. A general audience does not give a crap about this movie. They don't. Okay? They're saying, oh my god, it's the better version of Joker. Remember that Joker movie? Well, this is better because it's made by Disney. And people don't buy it. People don't want to see this. People don't really care for this. 610 households. And Mulan, was it could do the math for Mulan, 1.12 million viewers in 4 days, which usually after the first week, it has a drop off every single time. I bet Mulan probably gets 60 to 70% drop off, which means, yeah. Yeah, so according to this, the movie has put a 20.75 million, $26 million as well. Cruella, you know, first weekend, Mulan amounted to 43 million, and that's like nearly almost half of that gross here, and Mulan is doing far worse in U.S. households. Okay, it's not doing too well. Okay, and yeah, the World Disney and Who are not reporting numbers. That is one of the most watched movies. 32 million global households, 4 weeks under service. So Army of the Dead is doing far more better than Cruella. And Cruella, of course, has a Disney machine behind it. And the movie is still failing. Disney fanboys can never admit that Cruella is another flop like Melissa Mistress of Evil, because of course Disney artificially inflated the box office for that movie to make that movie look better at the box office. And yeah, it's not doing too well outside of America either. 83,000 was, I think that's still wet. I think it did the worst in Mulan in every country. I don't know, we don't have sales for a while because this is just US, of course. This is the US numbers here. But nobody really cares about this movie. No one's gonna pay for it. I was right. No one's gonna. This movie was not gonna do too well. Okay, Disney Plus was not gonna save Cruella. It's not. Okay, Disney fanboys say we will because it's so amazing. It's Disney. Okay, Disney of course releases these remakes and people just don't want to see them. People are getting sick of them. And general, it's not just the fact that it's the thing that people are starting to get sick of Disney's remakes. How many remakes do people want to see until people get tired, remaked out? Okay, people get remaked out. Mulan. The only thing is Mulan wasn't released in theaters. Okay, Mulan wasn't released in theaters, so some people actually went to go see the movie in the theaters, but still people don't want to see this movie. They don't want to see it in theaters. Okay, because there's going to be better movies in the theaters coming out later this year. Why would people want to watch this? This, unless of course they're on. Of course, you have all the reviews saying, "Oh my God, it's so surprising! It's so amazing." According to Rotten Tomatoes, this movie is one of the greatest movies of all time. According to the audience score, it is, because there's so many movies that a lot of people like that have lower scores than Cruella. I believe in the quote unquote cult classic Booksmart, which nobody watched and nobody cared about, probably has a lower score than this movie and Murders and Mysteries of Evil, and of course Wire, which of course all have near perfect scores on the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, where it's frozen 86% as well. Okay, which has been frozen, even though not many people like The Rise of Skywalker that much. Okay. And how dare people voice their opinion about Disney movies? Disney fanboys will really comment on people saying, you don't like it because, just because you don't like it means there'll be other people who watch it. That's the same excuse they use every single time. Okay, same excuse. They use the same excuse Mulan and Captain Marvel. Okay, but at least Captain Marvel made money, unlike Mulan and, you know, Cruella and, Murders and Mysteries of Evil. Okay, how dare you criticize Disney? The great Disney. How dare you criticize the movies? How dare you say, I don't want to watch a Disney movie? Okay? But that's what the Disney fanboys and Disney fans think people have to do. They have to like Disney or else. That's not how this world works. You can't force people to like Disney. And the numbers don't lie. People don't care for Cruella. People don't like Cruella that much. People are not gonna watch this. And I was right. So altogether, Cruella made $47 million from Disney Plus and premiere money on its first weekend. Which the movie needs to make around $200 million. Which means this movie isn't doing too well. Because usually after the first day, movies do far worse as well. And most people actually like the movie, whereas again, the Iron Curtain of Disney Plus is not really gonna tell you how well the movies are doing. So the Iron Curtain of Disney Plus is not gonna tell you. They're not gonna tell you how well Wire did, because they don't have numbers for Wire, but if it's doing this badly, they don't really. It's might not. It's probably barely past 1 million to 1.5 million people who bought it, which is gonna be significantly less than Mulan, which is like I think it can hit around 3 to 4 million. If we can do the money, we do a we have the calculator here. Okay, so let's see. Mulan makes 1.5 million viewers. Okay, there is a lowball, of course, plus 30. So for 1.5 million due to premiere access, that is around $45 million. And let's assume the movie does make around 155 to $200 million at the box office, which means 245 million, which means the movie does as well as it barely makes money. Okay, whereas if it continues doing worse than Mulan, which I presume made 4 million, and that movie was still a massive failure anyways, which Mulan made $120 million. Was to 100, according to, of course, Google made $170 million worldwide, and Disney Plus, but revenue, as of course, includes all the markets, all the worldwide markets, and of course includes the very small form box office account, which was I think like 80 million or so. The movie still lost like hundreds of millions of dollars because of, of course, the movie cost $200 million to make. Okay, and of course people said the reader would be $100 million loss, even though we have 405 million divided by 380, no, minus 380 here, 380 to 390 D, as well. That's of course excluding Blu-ray here, and this is the number I got from here. And let's assume that they don't get all of the theater revenue, which is minus 10, but we include the Blu-ray revenue, which is around 40, and digital, which I presume is around 10. So that means the reader made more money than Mulan. No matter what world you go to, Arita still made more money than Mulan. Okay, because Mulan is a massive failure. Okay, Cruella is gonna be another failure of Disney. It's gonna be another Dumbo performance. Where Dumbo made a performance far less than Alita, which, according to Dumbo, according to estimates, the best out of the movies of that budget range that came out at that time. And you really gotta wonder, why are Disney fanboys refusing to admit that Disney is failing nowadays? Okay, so we can't really say if it's a flop. We can't really tell you if it's a flop because they released it for free. So that's the whole bag of worms right there. You know, the fact that they didn't even give Soul a chance to make money. They're saying, oh, but people will just make. They'll say, oh, but the movie does make money from Disney Plus subscriptions. The movie will make money from Disney Plus subscriptions. That's their whole excuse. Same thing with Luca. That will probably be a big box office flop as well because they won't release it in theaters. Which I don't understand why Disney won't release in theaters. Okay, A Quiet Place is breaking records. I think they're scared that Disney is just that the Disney brand, same thing with Pixar and Marvel and Star Wars, is dying. Because Disney keeps ruining the movies. Disney keeps making bland and just generic garbage that they keep saying is a masterpiece, even though it isn't. Okay, for example, Cruella, okay, is another example of those movies that nobody cares about. Well, according to the critics, according to, of course, the Rotten Tomatoes audience score, Cruella is a masterpiece. Okay, and we have proven time and time again that people are done with Disney. People are getting sick of Disney. Okay, Soul was not doing very well on the, watch the home charts. It was flopping there because people don't care for Disney. Doesn't matter how good the movie is according to IMDb. Doesn't matter how many people say Soul is such an amazing movie. Don't care. People are sick of Disney because what has Disney done? They have produced a bunch of remakes that made $1 billion, made a ton of money, but people like, really? People like, these are not good movies. What happened to the old Disney? What happened to the old Disney that innovated, that came up with fresh new ideas? Okay, what happened to the old Disney? The old Disney that would come up with all these new ideas, the innovative Disney. Okay, like for example, the Disney of the 90s. Okay, and Disney of the 40s and 50s, when Walt Disney, of course, was CEO. What happened to that Disney? What happened to Disney? The Disney that wouldn't care if a movie would flop or not, and not make cheap cash grabs based off nostalgia. Okay, which is what Disney is doing now. Disney's just putting out a bunch of cheap cash grabs for nostalgia, which is that's what the remakes are. They're saying, you know what? You love these old Disney movies? Well, let's make super expensive live action versions of them. For example, The Lion King costed far more than Alita. Okay, I'm saying, it's funny, why are you comparing Disney to, why are you comparing Alita? But people are saying that Alita costed $200 million to make, but it still costed less than The Lion King remake. It's, including tax cuts, Alita's only had a $70 million budget, which is actually less than Mulan's budget, which was $200 million. And that movie was a $200 million flop because nobody wanted to do it because it didn't really make that much money. Even with the 4 million, Disney Plus subscriptions. Even with the other model, which was around 200 million, and of course they didn't really get much from international box office, you already had a recipe for disaster for Mulan. And you want more proof of this? Cruella won't be on here, but yeah, we have here, Why, which is the newest movie on the list. Here, Nomadland, that had the Disney cover on it. No wonder that won Best Picture, because it's Disney. Disney Prime made sure that movie won Best Picture. So hard that a movie that won Best Picture would have the Disney cover. But other than that, does anyone really give a crap about Disney? There's Rogue One 4K. There's the old Star Wars. Again, that's the old Star Wars. Nobody's gonna give a crap about the new Star Wars that is, far worse than the old Star Wars. You have Cruising New Ages that's outselling Soul. Okay. Another Disney movie, we have Rise of Skywalker, but it's being outsold by 2 of the original trilogy. You can go down here, the original trilogy of Star Wars. Why is not doing too well on 4K? It's behind the 4 Star Wars movies. Yeah, Soldier 38 is doing worse than Croods. Okay? It's doing worse than Croods because nobody really gives a crap about Disney anymore. Okay? You can say, oh, it's a masterpiece all you want, but people just do not care anymore. People are not going to listen to some random guy saying, "Oh my God, Soul is such a masterpiece. It's so underrated," because people don't want to see Disney. People are just done with Disney. Okay, people are done with Disney. Okay, the box office even shows that people are done with Disney. Okay, if it was Disney's perfect world, Cruella would have made $80 million. It would have beaten Quiet Place definitely by a large margin. But that is not the world where Disney can, magically get people to come to the theaters anymore. Okay, like they did last in 2019. Okay, and 2018 and 2017. We have movies like Incredibles 2 grossing billion dollars because you know what? Let's make a sequel because we got to cash in on nostalgia. Okay, for the first movie. Okay, say for Finding Dory, that was another movie that was made because people really love Finding Nemo, so let's make a sequel to it. 10 years after the first movie. Okay, I bet they're gonna do the same thing this decade of Coco. I can't wait till Disney said this makes it a sequel for no reason for Coco. That's in one movie that they'll probably make a sequel to, and it will probably make $1 billion because people saying, "Oh my God," because nostalgia for Coco. "Oh my God, this movie's so amazing. That movie is so amazing. What's the sequel?" And the sequel ends up being a generic movie that has Illumination style character designs, and people are still making $1 billion because of nostalgia. That's what Disney's last weapon is, nostalgia, and it's starting to fail with Cruella. Okay, here was the box office. Cruella did worse than A Quiet Place Part 2. Okay, we're in a perfect world. Cruella, perfect world where Disney always wins. Cruella would be the number one movie, but it's number two. Okay, and this is one of the big, Disney remakes. It's not one of those Disney remakes that we don't need. We don't need any more Disney remakes, but we're gonna get 10 more. We're getting a Bambi one. We're getting a Little Mermaid one. We're getting like every single Disney, Renaissance film being remade. I can't wait until the end of this decade we get a remake, a live action version of Frozen. We'll probably get that, or live action version of Toy Story, using real toys. Okay, like how low is Disney gonna go with these remakes? Are they gonna remake the first Iron Man movie? Because Disney can't think of anything new because they ruined the MCU so badly. So they're gonna remake the MCU. Okay, like nobody's gonna give a crap about this. Excuse me, nobody's gonna give a crap about this. Eternals is gonna flop. Look at Disney's schedule for 2021. Okay, you know, you know. Okay, well, this is a summary. Disney. Yeah, with Disney, always is not. Again, not every movie is. I know we have Luca, which again is going to flop because they're not going to release that in theaters. Black Widow will probably do okay. Jungle Cruise will probably flop. Saint C will probably not do too well. Hamilton, that's coming out in theater. That's canceled. Eternals, that's definitely gonna flop. Enchanto, it will probably be, it will, depends on what happens with that movie. Turning Red, again, that is Pixar, but again, even Pixar is losing. Again, it could be another good dinosaur. Not many people are gonna watch it, and I bet people are gonna save the money to watch Sonic 2, which is coming in a month after Turning Red. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness will probably do well because people actually like Doctor Strange. Thor and Thunder, I think, will be in the same place as Black Widow. It does have Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy as a character that people actually care about. But does anyone really care about Lady Thor? Like, really? Does anyone really care? Right? Yeah. I never heard of it. It's probably a new Disney animated movie or Pixar movie. Don't really know because it's so far out. Oh, it's another Toy Story movie. The the So yeah, it's another Toy Story movie. Yep, we're getting a fifth Toy Story movie. Well, of course, no one's gonna question that. But when we get free Cars movies, Pixar fans they'll freak out. But now we're getting a fifth Toy Story movie. Apparently, we have Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Well, but, it'll probably make $1 billion based off how well because of the cultural and social issues, cultural, you know, impact the first movie had. Indiana Jones 5, again, why did we need an Indiana Jones 5? Okay, why can't you just put the franchise to rest? But of course, because Disney can't think of anything new, it'll probably flop even harder than the fourth one. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, again, probably will do worse than Ant-Man and the Wasp. Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 will probably make $1 billion, and Rogue One. Star Wars, again, Rogue Squadron, again, considering the failure of Wonder Woman 1984, I think a lot of people don't really like Patty Jenkins right now as a director, considering that he made that awful pile of garbage called Wonder Woman 1984, and this movie will probably do complete garbage if Kathleen Kennedy has any say in it. Just hiring her because she's a woman, and that's it. But yes, he did actually make good movies, unlike, at least they're not making Brie Larson the director. Dear God, we don't want that to happen again. Like a unicorn store. Like, we don't want another one. We don't want that garbage repeated again. But if Kathleen Kennedy is involved, which there are rumors that she might be fired, but if she has, like, some small bit of involvement, same thing with Ruin Johnson, it'll probably be garbage. If Kathleen Kennedy has some influence in the movie, if the woke Twitter mob has some influence in the movie will be garbage, just like, the last 5 Star Wars movies, okay, movies, because of Kathleen Kennedy. Because Kathleen Kennedy is more worried about making Star Wars movies about, how great feminism is, how great, women now. That's basically like every modern Star Wars movie now. Okay. And we can just see people are starting to get done with Disney. Marvel is gonna die. Star Wars, Disney basically killed Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm killed the franchise, so they have to restart. They have to just not make any movies for a couple of years because they were planning to make a movie every year and turn it into, the Call of Duty of video games. We get a new Star Wars movie every holiday season, turn it into the Call of Duty of video games, but it seems that people don't really care. People don't really want to watch it here. And yeah, Disney isn't doing too well here. $38 million, which I think is, again, the box office just started this year, but most of that number is from Cruella and Wire. Jungle Cruise is not exactly going to light up the box office either, okay? They really just threw Luca in the garbage. And of course, apparently according to this, Disney still has 2 live action movies coming out, which will probably be more remakes that we don't need. That are probably gonna flop. Because of course Disney has 10 like live action remakes in development. Yeah. Here, and there we go about Cruella. So Cruella is not doing too well on Disney Plus. So, yeah, and we had in 2019, Disney was 43% of the movie market. But it seems that people are finally starting to wake up. And maybe actually much better movies will start making more money than freaking rehashes and remakes that nobody asked for. Okay, maybe people are finally starting to wake up to stuff like the Lion King remake. Okay, like we really need a Lion King remake. Okay, when people talk about how Joker 2 is unnecessary, I'll just point them to the Aladdin remake that made $1 billion, the Lion King remake that made $1 billion, the Dumbo remake, Toy Story 4. I'll point them to Murderous Mistress of Evil. Do we really need a second one? Okay, do we really need a Lady and the Tramp remake? It was only on Disney Plus. Okay. Do you really need all of that? Okay, all of that Frozen 2, I think that was probably going to happen because the first movie was so successful. And, that movie was going to make a lot of money anyways because of, Frozen, was such a masterpiece according to, the annoying little girls who call it a masterpiece, when it's not, as it has annoying songs and just bad characters. But there we go about Disney. It's finally about time that people are starting to wake up. Okay, Disney's not the greatest company of all time. Disney fanboys will probably screech and cry and whine over this. Okay, Disney isn't number 1 anymore because they bought up so many studios. They bought up the most popular movies at the time. So Disney raked in the cash. So Disney's raked in the cash for short term. But now it's finally time that people are finally starting to wake up to the truth about Disney. So that's basically it about this video. Goodbye.